One of the biggest regrets in my past is the way that I treated other students from kindergarten to 7th grade at one particular school. I was cruel, I was a bully, but I was uncomfortable in my own skin. I was miserable in my own life, and I wanted to inflict pain on others. There was one kid in particular who I severely bullied. I pushed him into lockers, I would throw dodgeballs at his head, and I would try to torture him every day. The school eventually intervened, and the principal came up with a plan for this student's dad to pick me up every morning so that we would walk into school together. And I told the principal, I will never do that. And the principal said, you'll end up in prison one day. And that's not the first time that I heard that. Another example of how God presented himself in my life was 2 years after I got sober. I run into this student's father twice in the same week. I avoided making eye contact with him and hid because I was embarrassed about the way that I treated his son. If that's not proof enough, when I ran into his father twice in the same week, my mentor and I were having dinner one Sunday night at a deli. He turned to me and said, some woman is giving you a dirty look. When I turned to my right, I saw his twin sister who was giving me a death stare, and I knew why she was staring at me like that. For those who think running into his father and sister 3 times in the same week is just chance, it's not chance. I have to listen. That is how God speaks to me, through other people, through instances like that. I knew what I had to do, and my girlfriend at the time agreed. I had to call and make restitution to the student who I bullied so severely. After 30 years, I called him and we met at Starbucks. I sat down with him and told him why I was apologizing, and I explained to him that I didn't have an excuse, that what I did was wrong, and how I'm trying to change my conduct today. And he had more empathy for me than I did for myself, which just goes to show you that God works in mysterious ways. If you're struggling with the concept of God or a higher power, I hope you can acknowledge that running into the student's father twice in the same week, followed by his twin sister, is not a coincidence. I hope you can acknowledge that there is something in the universe that put us together for a reason, and that it was not an accident and not a coincidence. That's how God speaks to me.